Cool. Great. Well, welcome back to the Titus Talent Talks podcast. I'm Jonathan Reynolds, your host, and I am at the EOS conference, getting ready. We're recording podcasts for our summer series all about EOS. I am sitting here with Kristie Clayton, and you're in for a treat. Get ready. Kristie, welcome.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. I'm very well.
Yeah.
Life is good. Life is full. Life is exciting. And
Very.
It must be for you. You always seem to be in this kind of there's exciting things going on. Every time I hear you, you got this biggest grin on your face. Your smile can be seen for a mile, and always ready for a big hug as well. But
Yes.
Tell us, who is Kristie Clayton? What's going on in your world right now?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
Well, it's purposely broad because you can start wherever you want to start.
Wherever I want to start. So let's see. So I am the founder of Female Integrator Mastermind, or FEM as we lovingly call it. I was just recently elevated from the integrator to the visionary role. And so, yes, I'm excited. I'm really embracing that and taking it on. So that's really, really fun right now. And then I just recently launched my own coaching called ExcelHER8, where I am taking emerging leaders and brand new integrators through 8 disciplines to really hone their skills so that they can sit in the room at the table with confidence as they're leading their companies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from?
You know, it's really kind of funny because before I started FEM, I didn't realize I had a passion for developing women leaders.
Yeah.
But as FEM has kind of evolved and really grown over the last almost 6 years now, it's just this passion that lives inside me that I really want women to know we are absolutely capable of having a seat at the table. We can run our companies, we can run our government, we can do all the things that sometimes we're told we can't do.
Yeah.
But we're naturally gifted at these things. So why not? So it just is kind of this evolution over the last 7-8 years that I really want to help women.
Yes.
I had somebody really help me, and I really want to give back and help other women.
That's cool. I often like people, where did that come from?
Yeah.
You had somebody help you.
Yeah.
I think I'm at this point and stage in life where the mentors that have been gone before me are like kind of either moving on and
Right.
they're no longer around, and it's kind of like, no, who's going to be my mentor? And I'm like, oh, actually, I am that to the next generation. So tell me about your mentor.
So I've really been very blessed to have a couple of women that have mentored me. And the first one, her name is Mary Ruth Williamson, and she is in my hometown. And we were working together on a project, and she just took me under her wing. And when she did, I felt myself taking flight. And I was like, I can do this. I really can do this. And then with her guidance and help, I really was able to step into the role of running the company.
Wow.
And then from there, she and I we've stayed in contact for 12, 13 years now. And we almost mentor and help each other now, because there's things that I've gone on to do that she doesn't. And so I can give back to her. And it's wow. We now have this mutually beneficial relationship.
That's so great.
It's really,
I love
really
that.
cool. And then probably one of the other biggest ones is Mary Pat Knight. Oh,
yes.
Love her. I think everybody knows her, loves her. And she did the same. I met her at the second FEM summit that we did in Dallas a few years ago.
Yeah.
And she immediately, we just clicked and bonded, and we decided to work together. And I contribute who I am today to those 2 women.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What coming alongside somebody else, what do you replicate? Coming under somebody's wing, what does that actually mean? You're like, there were some things that they did with me, and I do the same thing with other people. What does it?
Yeah,
does anything stand out?
Great question. I think it starts with most people who know me know that my Mimi, or my grandmother, was extremely influential in my life, and I think it starts with her. When I was younger, I would just look at her and just how beautiful and graceful and elegant she was with people, and how within her community, because she's hearing impaired, within the deaf community, she was admired and loved because of how much she just gave to them. And so I just started there, watching her, emulating her. Yeah. And then when it comes to Mary Ruth and Mary Pat, they just lead with beauty and grace. One of the things I love the most about Mary Pat is the emotional intelligence side of things, right?
Yeah.
Come from a place of understanding and curiosity instead of coming in knowing like you know all of the answers.
Yeah.
And when you're curious, it really allows you to dig deeper and really find out what's going on before you even present solutions. One of my favorite things that Mary Pat taught me is ask them what they're looking for when they come in and ask you a question. We automatically assume somebody's coming in and wanting us to like give an answer, but sometimes that's not what they're needing. Sometimes they're like, hey, I just need a brainstorm and like get a couple of ideas from you.
Yeah.
Or I just need to see, am I on the right path for the task that you gave me?
Yeah.
They're not always looking for the answer.
Right.
They just want guidance. So ask them,
That's
what
a great
are you
question.
looking for in our conversation today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can use that with my kids.
All right,
What are you
yes,
looking for?
yeah.
Your way? Is that what you're looking for? You want me to approve what you want to do? Is that what we're doing
Yes.
here?
Sometimes, yes.
It's kind of like I get the app request, like, can you approve this app to be downloaded on my phone? I'm like, approve or decline. And I'm like, why do you need this app? What are you planning on doing with it?
Yes. But it's a great conversation starter, though, right? Because
Totally.
now you can really ask them, what is the intention of this app? And
So,
I like getting curious.
shifting from an integrator to a visionary. Talk about that. Like, that's fresh.
Oh, it's a lot to take on because for me, I think it's been an evolution for me because when I first met several people, specifically Alec Broadfoot, one of my favorite people, right?
Yeah,
I love
totally.
Alec. Alec has always said to me, "I think you're a visionary," and No, I'm an integrator. I've been an integrator for a long time, and I've got skills and things that have built me as an integrator. My identity was tied to being an integrator.
Yeah.
And so when people were saying you're visionary, I almost took it. No, I didn't take it badly, but I was just fearful of it. Wait a minute. I don't know what being a visionary looks like. I know what being an integrator is.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be an integrator, and I do all the things. So over the last year, this evolving so that I can move into the visionary role has been a real growth for me as a person because I had to let go of the identity of being an integrator.
Yeah.
But now that I have Melissa Bushman, amazing integrator. I really, truly am like the luckiest visionary. I just feel free.
Yeah.
Like I'm really doing the things that I naturally do and am gifted at doing. And I couldn't do it without her.
Is she full-time as an integrator for FIM?
No, we are all fractional for
Okay, I thought so,
FIM.
yeah.
Yeah. So she is an integrator for another company full-time and then works with FIM as well.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Talk about FIM, the future of where you're going. I've had the privilege of, I always feel like I'm sneaking into the conferences. I don't know, are we coming this year? I don't know.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm like sneaking in there. It's been a real privilege. There's some fierce and passionate, incredibly skilled and gifted women there, and I can see that are so committed to crafting their art and how they transform organizations. It's a privilege to be a part of it. So well done.
Thank you.
Where is it going?
Oh, I'm so excited. I think, right now we have our 4 primary benefits that we're really honing and elevating. And, that's our community that we have, our workshops. We have monthly workshops.
Yeah.
The forums that we have, our roundtables. Oh, my goodness, Jonathan, that's probably one of the
Tell me
most
about those.
amazing
I'm not
things.
as familiar with that.
So we have brought together women every other month. They meet for 90 minutes.
Okay.
And it's women integrators IDSing with one another. If you've never IDSed with integrators, it's amazing. Like we really get right straight to it. And I mean, some of the things that have come out of these forums, the relationships that are happening with one another, it is profound and it is making an impact on their lives. They're connecting, outside of the forums and really helping each other get better. I love it.
That's so cool.
We kind of started at the very first FEM. it was technically it's our summit, but we called it a retreat at that point because it was 11 women in Nashville.
Yes, I've heard
Went
the
out
stories.
literally into the woods and spent 3 days together. One of my accountability partners came from that, and so for 6 years we've been accountability partners, really holding each other accountable. And the cool thing is we've gotten to see each other grow over these last 6 years. And we were just talking about this last night, like looking back 6 years ago where we started, like, wow, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
A long way in 6 years.
How many members are there now?
There's about 160-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started with 5 6 years ago. Now
Yeah.
we've got about 160.
You gotta be so proud of that.
I am. I think I'm most proud of the impact that we're having on women leaders and on each other. It's an all-volunteer organization, so the entire leadership is volunteer. All of the committees are volunteer. They pour their hearts and soul into FEM. Mm-hmm. I know FEM would not be what it is if it wasn't for these amazing women.
Oh, my gosh. My gosh.
I
It's
told
great.
myself I wouldn't cry.
You did. It just snuck out.
Yeah. These women are powerful, and they really, truly want to give to other women, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
When you look at the 3-year picture for FEM,
Yeah.
what's different? What does that desired future look like?
Yeah, so I think we are really at a point where it's pivotal, and we'll start changing from volunteers to paid staff, so we can start having people full time. We're also really looking at expanding and growing our membership numbers. We also are going to be very intentional about being international. We are currently we have members in 7 different countries right now.
Whoa.
And so just continuing to build that out. We want to change the world. We really want to change the world.
Well, you guys can.
Yeah.
And you can
Thank
see
you.
that. I totally believe it.
Thank you.
So do you know do you have numbers associated with those, like size of how many women you want? The 3-year picture? Can you share that or no?
I believe the 5-year picture is the 3-year picture is 500.
500?
Yeah.
Can you imagine your conference with 500?
I'm so excited to see it 500.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
What do you need to happen for that to happen?
Just this continued growth and for people to be aware of who we are. I'm really surprised. There's so many implementers and people in the community that do know who we are, but we're also really still kind of quiet, and a lot of people don't know who we are. But our members are fantastic about sharing their experience. Yeah. And so we're getting our name out there. We're really growing.
Well, we are big fans.
Thank you.
Every time we recruit and hire integrators, the female integrators, we're like connecting them to you guys and saying, "Here you go. Here's another one. Here's another one."
Well, thank you.
Because
that means a lot to me.
it helps them integrate into the organization.
Yeah.
Having the support system and the strength behind it, because many people move into integrator roles and they've not actually have a history of EOS. Yeah. So they hear about it. They're like, yeah, this sounds amazing. I'll be the integrator. And so they come in. They've got all of the right skills and experience and the values. All of those things line up, but they've never actually been an integrator. They may have been,
exactly.
COO or VP of Ops or something like that. Well,
and I'll tell you, I mean, as the visionary, it's a very lonely role, like to be in that, because you're the only visionary of the company. There's no one really that's your peer within your company. It's the same thing with the integrator role, right? I mean, it's a very lonely role, and especially if you're new to EOS, new to the company, there's a lot of questions. Am I doing this right? Like, am I using the tools? I'm supposed to be the EOS cheerleader. Yeah. However, am I doing this correctly? Right. And so this peer group, what I love about it is, first of all, it brings us out of loneliness. Yeah. I'm no longer on lonely integrator island by myself. Right. I can now go to my peers and say, hey, y'all, I have this question. And now I not only are there women responding saying, yeah, I've been through that too. Here's how I solved it. Yeah. But I now realize I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who is going through this particular issue. And so it really pulls me out of loneliness. Yeah. And also, number 2, I can ask a question, get 20 different answers, and I don't have to spend 3, 4, 5 years trial and error trying to figure something out. I can learn from my peers what they did, and immediately start making impact.
How do you, I mean, this is really cool. How do you guys communicate? Is it like a Slack channel that everyone's a part of, all your members? How do they soundboard like this?
So
What's that
right
look?
now we have a community that we've built out. So it's our own app that we have. You can log in on the desktop or on any type of smart device.
Yeah.
And it's just our community. Like it's specifically ours.
That's cool.
There's discussion about, possibly moving to Slack or something, making it a little easier for everybody.
Right.
But right now we're on our own community. It's a lot of fun.
That's fun. That's fun. So shifting a little bit here. I know you over the year. I don't know when I met you. Maybe 5 years ago, probably. So your own consulting practice, because you left being an integrator for financial services, and did I say that right? Is it financial services?
Wealth management.
Wealth management. So wealth management organization, and you were integrated there for a number of years. To kind of step out on your own. That was a bold move. Scary, but you are fierce. So talk about that transition, going into your own gig, and then I want to hear actually what it is you do and how do you do it and who's your ideal consultee.
So 7 years ago, I joined the firm. That's how about 7.5 years ago, I joined the wealth management firm, and that's how I discovered EOS and this term integrator and fell in love with it, and realized it's who I was, and that's what I wanted to really dive into. And then as FEM was evolving, I realized I truly have this passion. Like it's like a burning passion inside me to develop women leaders, to really show them confidence, a solid voice. And to go for it. Don't be scared. We all make mistakes, but mistakes are lessons that you can learn from. So don't be scared to put yourself out there. And so slowly but surely, more and more people started asking me, when are you going to leave the firm and do FEM full time? Or when are you going to do your own thing? And I think the last time someone at the firm asked me, it really kind of clicked in my head that, wait a minute, is this something that I really should be considering as doing something? And so I took a long clarity break, and really sat down and talked through what would that look like? And, is that something I really want to do? And as I talked to more people, I realized this is my purpose in life. Like, this isn't just a job or a career move. This is my purpose, is to really help women leaders. And so I took a deep breath and stepped out on my own. And that is where ExcelHER8 has really kind of blossomed from.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations on making the bold move. The world's going to be better for it. So,
Thank you.
Impact. I know that you're going to have a massive impact there. So, talk to me about that, and for people listening, going, okay, what is this? Would I be a candidate for getting involved and being coached and mentored by Kristie Clayton?
So first and foremost, the HER in ExcelHER8 stands for helping executives rise. And then the 8, there's 8 disciplines that I've developed. It's my content, my material that I'm really kind of honing here, lessons that I have learned over my years of experience. And starting with the person and making sure they know and understand who they are, because I truly believe to show up as your best self at work, you have to know who you are and what you're looking for. What skills do you bring to the table? What are your values? What do you want out of life? All of those things. And then the last 4 disciplines are really focusing, now that you know who you are, how do you bring those into your job and accelerate at them? So, really talking through role mastery, effective communication, leadership, and healthy professional relationships. So I'm really, really excited about it. I have a few cohorts that are starting. So there are cohorts for integrators very specifically. I'm super excited about those, of course. But I have a cohort that's starting in August for emerging leaders. Those women who haven't quite made it to the role that they're really seeking out, but something is holding them back. And so my goal is to give them the confidence to step into that role.
Yes.
And then have the voice at the table, not be that shy, closed, be really small. But on the opposite side, don't be the dragon that's like in the room, like screaming and then you get labeled certain words that you don't want to be labeled. How do you find your Goldilocks and really stay in the middle, always standing in your strength?
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really excited about that. And just really want women to know that you are absolutely capable of doing this.
Oh, it's inspiring.
Thank you.
It's super inspiring. Being a dad with daughters, I'm like, great. I hope that there's mentors and coaches and guides in this area as well. Obviously, I'm doing my best.
That's where that's where a lot of this comes from for me. Is I know you hear me talk at Summit, and one of the things I say there's 3 aspects for me. Number 1 is to remember and to honor those that came before us. We have amazing women that really laid a foundation for us. My Mimi was one, right? She really did a lot for the deaf community, and she was a beautiful, beautiful person. And I am so just honored that I got to live out her legacy and continue it. But then empower the women of today. Let's grow them and really, really help them see who they are and achieve their goals. And then let's inspire the next generation.
Yes.
And really my nieces mean everything to me. And I want, my grandmother cracked doors open so that I could, open the door and walk through it. But I want my nieces, your daughters, to not even have a door to open. They're just walking straight through it.
Yes, yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Rich stuff.
Thanks.
I love it. So you got the cohorts. You got, I'm assuming, individual coaching as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What does that look like? How does somebody kind of find out about it?
Yeah.
How do they find out if they're a potential candidate for it? How do you select who you're going to give your time to?
Yeah, that's great questions. So I have a discovery process to see if we are a right fit for one another. And I'm really passionate, like I said, about integrators specifically. So where you place integrators into roles, if you're brand new, you're not sure, I'd love to be that mentor and help you through the process. And again, that emerging leader, that woman who has not quite found their destination and unsure of how to get there, or need that confidence to really step into the role. What my mentors did for me, I want to now do for them.
That's so cool. And how long would a kind of an engagement last? Is somebody, I'm thinking there's so many different criteria here. So someone's listening to this right now and they're like, that's me, or hey, that's somebody on my team. I'm not, I'm not qualified for this role, but I would love to send so-and-so on my team to be a part of something here. How long is that? Is that a 1-year engagement? Is it case by case?
Mentorships can, be as small as 3 to 6 months, or they can last years. The coaching program that I have is a 12-month commitment.
Oh, okay.
And it includes, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and a retreat. I love retreats.
Yeah, totally. And so it's not tied to FIM, separate.
Yes.
So it's not like they automatically get to go to FIM conferences or that. It's separate.
No. Yeah, this is 2 separate things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What is your biggest fear?
Oh, wow. Heights? No, I'm just kidding.
We're on the 25th floor right now. The reason we have the curtains closed is so you don't feel like scared of looking down on Indianapolis.
No, my biggest fear, I think my biggest fear for a long time has been failure.
Yeah.
It's one reason why I surround myself with really amazing people, successful people that I can really look up to, look to see what are they doing to inspire me to continue moving forward. But I think fear has always been, my biggest fear has always been the failure and not making my Mimi and my daddy proud. That's the biggest thing.
Where do you think that comes from?
I really don't know, but it's ever since I was a little girl. There was one time I did something my dad told me not to. And the worst thing ever that was said to me was, I'm disappointed in you. Mm. And when my daddy said that, I was like, I will never disappoint my daddy again, ever.
Wow.
I will never disappoint him again.
Wow.
And so I live my life really making sure that I am always making my grandmother proud, always making my daddy proud.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love him, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That, by the way, when that happened, it was probably the worst thing. I was so broken heartbroken when he said that to
Yeah.
me. But looking back at it, it's probably one of the best things that happened.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, that's how I'm going to live. I'm not.
Do you ever get to
disappoint him.
process that with him or no?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever have. I probably should.
He's still alive?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know as parents, like we say things and we don't realize the impact of it,
Yeah.
positive or negative.
And you know what? He probably doesn't even remember saying it to me.
No,
you
probably
know?
not.
But it was,
Yeah.
and it was something silly, stupid that I did. But that the word disappointment just struck with me, and I was like, oh, I will never disappoint my daddy again.
Isn't it? It's amazing how just these little sound bites, and obviously from your dad, it's obviously it's your dad, so you want to please your dad and you love your dad. And I remember, I don't know, I must have been probably 7 years old maybe, and being called up in front of the class. I'm like, now I say, oh, I'm super ADHD, but back then I would have, never been labeled as that, or, but I remember not paying attention in class, and the teacher probably recognized that I wasn't paying attention, so she used that moment to pull me up and have me do the math sum on the board, on the blackboard. But I hadn't been listening. I had no clue what was going on. It's kind of like, well, go on, show the class that you know what you're doing. And I'm like, just froze there. I mean, it's kind of the moment when I could have just peed my pants right there in front of the whole class. I was so embarrassed. And I didn't know what to say, super humiliated. And I just froze, with the little chalk in my hand as a little tiny little boy. And I still, to this day, if somebody asks me a math equation, I'm like, here, you work it out. Hand the calculator. I just check my email here. I'll do something else. Like, do not ask me something like that. And it's not that I can't do it. It's that I freeze in that moment because I don't like the feeling of humiliation.
Yes.
And it's still to this day, it's man, it's crazy. I'm in my 40s and I'm crippled by something that happened when I was a tiny little child.
Right.
And I have to fight really hard to get over it.
Yeah.
But even in front of my young kids, they'll laugh at me because I'm like, oh, I'm just terrible at math. And I keep massaging in this lie.
Yeah.
Because it just helps protect me from humiliation.
Right. And I completely understand, because if you humiliate me, I'm done. I freeze too. And I struggle to move forward.
Yeah.
But I really challenge you, Jonathan. How do you start reframing that in your mind so that you could really move forward and not freeze when math questions happen?
Yeah.
Can you start telling yourself, I am great at math?
Yeah.
And start, trying to think that way.
Totally. And I know how I deal with it. I mean, my integrator, Scott, is a former CFO, CPA. He's a CPA. And I'm like, it's great. Oh, he's the numbers guy. He's got it. He's the numbers. I was even having breakfast this morning, and literally it was like, we're talking about some percentage or something. I'll go, yeah, that number is this, so about that number. And he's like, well, it's not that number, is it? Then we go back and forth. I was like, I'm close enough, aren't I? It's like, well, yeah, close enough, but it's a number, It's like, there is an accurate piece to this,
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh man, I tried to put myself out there. But I'm really thankful for, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I received the challenge to reframe it, because otherwise I do get stunted in my growth, and I choose not to grow if I say I can't grow.
Yes.
So I will.
Well, and your children will see that in you, right? Dad saying he can't, or Dad is saying he's not a math guy, and now they can pick up on that too. Yeah. So I just challenge you to.
I didn't know this was going to be a therapy session. Jeez, let's talk more about your dad. No, I want to go back to that. Stop humiliating me. Stop telling me I'm a bad dad. But totally okay. All right, I got some homework to do. What's your homework?
Oh, my homework is I'm going to talk to my dad.
Okay, so you're going to talk to your dad, and I'm going to start reframing how I deal with my kids.
I love it, and I'm going to hold you accountable to it.
All right. Well, then I'll have to hold you accountable too. Then.
Okay, let's do
threatening
this.
each other with accountability.
Wow, I didn't know this was
What's your
gonna be
favorite EOS tool as we wrap up here?
Ooh, my favorite EOS tool. There's so many, but I would probably say one that I'm really embracing a lot lately is the clarity break. Being able to work on myself as much as I'm working in, my business, working on my business and my business. It's one of those tools that A lot of people, and specifically, I hear a lot of integrators say, yeah, I tell my visionary to do that, or I tell my team to do that, but they themselves are not doing it. And when you are practicing, taking clarity breaks, listen, it doesn't matter if it's 10, 15 minutes a day, or 10, 15 minutes a week or a month, but having that time that you really sit with yourself and really think through all of the things, man, it's powerful.
Have you read the Clarity Field Guide? Is that helpful?
I love Chris White and Benj Miller. Yes. And I used that. For a long time, I took that book with me every single time I took a clarity break. And I would think about where am I? And then I would look in the book.
It's really helpful, isn't it? I know it's not the official EOS book or in the library or whatever. It's a really helpful tool.
Yeah,
really, really
it really
helpful.
is. Especially when you're stuck.
Well, yeah.
And changing seasons. It's like, I don't know how to think about this new season. Looking through the book and thinking about what do I need to think about as the season in my life or in my business is changing. Oh, game changer. Game changer.
I love it. All right. Last question. Favorite book in the EOS library?
Oh, wow.
Or I should say favorite. That's too extreme. What's one that comes to mind which has made an impact on you?
Well, they definitely all have.
I know.
Sure.
All your kids are your favorites.
They've all had their time and their season.
Yeah.
And I think the one that I'm really sitting with at the moment is the EOS life.
Oh,
What is my optimized life? What is my dream, and where do I want to go?
Yeah.
And therefore, what does my life look like in order to be able to live that life?
Oh, it's great. I love it. How do people get hold of you, Kristie?
Yeah, so probably the easiest way is to get me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's just Kristie Clayton, and then Kristie with an IE. And then you can always email me, Kristie, Kristie, at integratormastermind.com.
integratormastermind.com. I love it. It is so good to sit here with you at the EOS conference. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan, for having me. It's been great.
You're welcome. You're welcome.